Thank you very much for joining. And today we're going to talk about real peace and security. When? That is our theme. Well, if you think about the theme, which says real peace and security, it seems that there's also this false or fake peace and security, isn't it? Well, as a matter of fact, there is. There's this kind of peace and security, a make believe kind of peace and security designed to encourage the people to trust human efforts of human governments that they really can provide real global peace and security for the entire human race. They do not think of real peace and security to be coming from God's government, but rather from just mere human efforts. So the question is it really possible for humans to achieve real peace and security on their own? Well, history can tell, and the truth is, there's more to it than just human envision to achieve it. And whatever it is, let us find out. Let me ask you, when exactly did mankind start to seek real and lasting peace and security? Was it during World Wars I and II, or was it during the Holocaust? Well, the answer, it was when Adam and Eve have sinned to Jehovah. The absence of peace and security is the result of mankind's refusal to submit to God's laws and commands. Adam and Eve lost their peaceful relationship they once enjoyed with their Maker, Jehovah, their God. Sin entered into the world, says Romans 5:12. Adam and Eve were then expelled from Eden, and they dwell in the wilderness after their rebellion against Jehovah's authority. And unlike the paradise condition they had in Eden, they barely had anything in that barren land where they live outside that paradise called Eden. And that barren land was the complete opposite of their abundance inside that paradise Eden. Jehovah then told Adam at Genesis 3:17, "Cursed is the ground on your account. In pain you will eat its produce all the days of your life." That's what Jehovah said to Adam. Did the curse really happen? Well, absolutely yes. Food was scarce, and thorns and thistles have grown more than what they ever dreamed to eat. And it was the time when even the closest of kins tend to kill one another. Of course, we know Cain, the son of Adam and Eve, killed his own brother Abel. And since then, there was always a constant need for peace and security. There is need for peace because crimes have since been dominating mankind as a result of their defiance to obey God's law. From then on, real peace and security have since been so elusive that the quest to achieve it seemed to always turn into a failure. When disobedient mankind subdued the earth, they brought along with them wars and crimes, and they have put the earth in constant chaos. And of course, the curse which Jehovah has told Adam has since been unbreakable. And when mankind become many, the best that they ever achieve are only a few short periods of temporary coexistence with their neighbor nations. They did not really achieve real, lasting peace and security for all. And they really did not understand the real reasons why peace and security are absent in this world. The Bible, on the other hand, gives two basic reasons why attaining real peace is so elusive. Number one reason, because mankind is not at peace with God, and we know God, Jehovah God, is the source of love and peace. And the second reason why attaining real peace is so elusive is because the world is ruled by Satan, and we know Satan is the source of hatred and wars. And that is what John 12:31 is also saying. Now, let us consider these two reasons. The first reason why peace and security are so elusive is because mankind is not at all at peace with God. Now, why is this vital? Because if there's no peace with God, then there can be no lasting or meaningful peace in any other relationship. Because peace with Jehovah is the foundation for true peace on earth. And this is why Jehovah's organization is the only place on earth where you can find true peace and security. Imagine all racial skin colors convening unitedly to worship the only true God, Jehovah. That's what it is inside Jehovah's organization. If you attend international conventions happening all around the world, you will know that it is possible to unite all racial skin colors to convene unitedly to worship the only true God. Isaiah 57:20-21 tell us, "But the wicked are like the restless sea that cannot come down, and its waters keep tossing up seaweed and mire. There's no peace, says my God, for the wicked." That's what it says. But the question is it really true? Is there really no peace for the wicked? Well, look at the Middle East right now. Did they ever find rest when we talk about wars? Absolutely no. And one of the nations involved in the ongoing wars in the Middle East is Israel. Who is Israel? Jehovah's former chosen nation. Yes, ancient Israel was Jehovah's former chosen nation. And when Israel obeyed Jehovah, they didn't have to lose the wars. It was Jehovah who fought for them. At Joshua 23, verse 10, Joshua told the nation, "Just one man of you will chase 1,000, because Jehovah your God is fighting for you, just as he promised you." Now, can you imagine them under God's protection during their enemy's vicious military campaign against them? They didn't have to worry whether they win or lose because they always win. Jehovah is the one fighting for them. Joshua 21 verses 44 and 45 say, "Jehovah gave them rest on every side, just as he had sworn to their forefathers, and not one of all their enemies could stand against them. Jehovah gave all their enemies into their hand. Not a promise failed out of all the good promises that Jehovah had made to the house of Israel. All of them came true." What a very nice scenario. Can you imagine? Joshua defeated 31 kings during his campaign for true worship, says Joshua 12:24. Well, that's only good when the people of Israel remained loyal to their God, Jehovah. The nation of Israel that we know today turned their back on Jehovah. They rejected his beloved Son, Jesus being the Messiah. And look at Israel now. Where are they? Well, the nation of Israel now stood amidst endless wars that they could not escape and they could not totally win. But did you know that where Israel is standing right now is the exact fulfillment of Joshua's prophecy thousands of years ago? Let us read Joshua 23 verses 12 and 13. Joshua speaks, "But if you should turn back at all and stick to what is left of these nations that remain with you, and you form marriage alliances with them, and associate with them, and they with you, you should know for sure that Jehovah your God will not continue to drive out these nations for you. They will become a trap and a snare and a scourge on your flanks and thorns in your eyes until you have perished from this good land that Jehovah your God has given you." Now, what do we learn from this account? When Joshua was old and was about to die, he warned the nation to stay loyal to Jehovah and finish their quest to possess all the remaining lands, not just in Canaan, but all that surround them. And he said, Jehovah will continue to fight for them. Now, we understand Jehovah is not satisfied having the land of Canaan be given to his chosen nation, Israel. He was about to take all the nation that surround them to expand the territory of his chosen nation. But instead, the nation of Israel stopped the quest to annihilate the rest of the nations that Jehovah was about to give them. They spared the rest of those nations to form alliances with them. They gave their sons and daughters to the pagan nations, and they even performed wars. They performed Baal worship with these pagan nations. And remember what Joshua warned them about? He warned that those nations will become a trap and a snare and a scourge on their flanks and thorns in their eyes until they have perished from that good land that Jehovah their God has given them. Now, the only thing in this prophecy that's left unfulfilled is that Israel will have to perish from that land out there that's called Israel. Israel right now is in the middle of wars that they could not win from the nations that they were supposed to possess and conquer thousands of years ago. Soon enough, the apostate nation of Israel will also go down to destruction with all their adversaries and all the other nations who oppose Jehovah. We have reasons to believe it's going to happen very soon because they rejected their God, Jehovah. And that's the reason why Jehovah in return rejected the nation as well. The entire nation of Israel is now living in constant fear that they could not get away from. Missiles are coming into the nations from almost every direction, shelled by their enemies that they were supposed to have conquered thousands of years ago after Joshua's death. There's no real peace and security for Israel because they abandoned the true source of real peace and security, Jehovah. So what lesson did we learn from the Israelites? We learned that there is no real peace and security elsewhere outside Jehovah's loving care. If you leave Jehovah, there's just nowhere else to go but to side with Satan. Leave Jehovah and Satan will be the only option for you to go. And Satan, we know, is the source of hatred and wars. And chances are, either you too will become influenced by Satan's personality if you leave Jehovah, or you will go down with him to destruction when Jehovah exacts his retribution against the wicked ones. And the truth is that true peace and security do not depend on having acquired the best air defense systems such as the Iron Dome, which Israel has right now, and the most sophisticated military armaments and ammunitions. Love for God and deep respect for His righteous principles are what's essential to acquiring true peace and security. And to restore peace with God, we must recognize our spiritual need and submit to God's laws. And remember the second reason why peace and security are so elusive? It's because the world is ruled by Satan. And Satan, we know, is the source of hatred and wars, according to John 12:31. Remember at the outset, we mentioned that there is more to it than just human efforts? Well, not really human efforts, but behind human efforts, it is really this invisible wicked spirit, the same one who successfully enticed our first parents to rebel against Jehovah's authority, Satan the devil. He is the force behind all human efforts to devise a campaign for peace and security away from God's intervention. And especially in these last days, the world is more than ever influenced by Satan. Shortly after God's kingdom began ruling in heaven in 1914, Satan was hurled down to the earth according to Revelation 12:9. And since then, Satan's superhuman evil influence dooms all human efforts to bring about peace. And he has intensified his efforts to mislead man. He promoted hatred, warfare, and other woes, and it's been constantly increasing day after day. But even so, it will never be too difficult for Jehovah to defeat Satan and his companions and bring about justice to those who love him. The Bible has so many accounts that prove Satan is helpless against Jehovah's enormous power. And Jehovah will again prove to be in the final of days. Jehovah assures us that it is still his purpose to have lasting peace on earth, and he will do so by means of Jesus, the Prince of Peace, as mentioned at Isaiah chapter 9, verses 6 and 7. We have reached the time when significant developments and earth-shaking events prophesied in the Bible are to occur, and it is now unfolding before our very eyes. Now, there's one more development that has yet to take place. And do you know what it is? It is foretold at 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 2 and 3. Let us read. It says, "For you yourselves know very well that Jehovah's day is coming exactly as a thief in the night. Whenever it is that they are saying peace and security, then sudden destruction is to be instantly on them, just like birth pains on a pregnant woman, and they will by no means escape." Yes, we don't know exactly yet if this war in the Middle East is going to escalate to persuade the rest of the world leaders to finally bring about an uproar for peace and security. We don't know exactly, but it looks like it's going there so far. And did you ever think that there's any more possibility than an outcry for peace and security? Well, we will remember Joshua when he said that there's not one word that Jehovah has spoken will ever fail. We don't know exactly how, but it will surely come. Now, the cry for peace and security may be just one event or maybe a series of events, but as to the complete fulfillment of this prophecy, it is wise for us to just wait and see what develops on the world scene. Now, God's word assures us that all false religions will be attacked and destroyed by the wild beast and the 10 horns. And it is undeniable one of the main causes of the world's turmoil is really the world's empire of false religions. The wild beast or the world's governments, once a very close ally of false religions, will be the very instrument that Jehovah will use to crush this great spiritual harlot. And many people thought that it will be very impossible to do so. They laugh at the Jehovah's Witnesses when we say so. They laugh at us when we say so, but the truth is that it's not really us who said, but God's word, the Bible. We read Revelation 17:17. Please follow along as I read Revelation 17:17, and it says, "For God put it into their hearts to carry out his thought." Yes, to carry out their one thought by giving their kingdom to the wild beast until the words of God will have been accomplished. Now, this indeed is a very fine promise for the loyal servants of Jehovah, and this will surely be fulfilled. Many people know and feel that religion blocks their efforts to achieve peace. Religion, they say, is an opium, and so many people started to hate religion already. And their number keeps growing day by day when they realize that religion really is the one responsible for the world's chaos and turmoil, not just today, but since the start of human civilization. And I know you know there's one popular chant: democracy is for the people, by the people, and of the people. Now what's the point? History proved time and time again that people can overthrow powerful human governments, and it shows that they too can influence governments to topple down very powerful religious institutions. Especially this time, it is Jehovah doing the maneuver for them to do so. After the destruction of false religion, God's kingdom will crush all human governments, says Daniel 2:44. And this will transpire during Jehovah's great day of Armageddon. And thereafter, Satan the devil will be removed, opening the door to a new millennium of real peace and security. But the question is, what are the many facets of real peace and security? Well, of course, we know this will be only for those who will live on earth after Satan has been removed. Number one, there's going to be peace with fellow men, and there's going to be peace with mankind and animals, says Isaiah chapter 11, verses 6 to 9. There will be no more hatred and crimes. The second facet is that there's going to be paradise condition all throughout the earth, according to Isaiah 35, verse 1. And third, there will be good health and plenty of food for everybody. Psalm 72:16 says, "There will be an abundance of grain on the earth. On top of the mountains, it will overflow." And there's more. There's going to be satisfying work. Nobody will ever feel he's bored anymore. We read at Isaiah 65:21 and 22, it says, "They will build houses and live in them, and they will plant vineyards and eat their fruitage." They will not build for someone else to inhabit, nor they will plant for others to eat. For the days of my people will be like the days of a tree, and the work of their hands my chosen ones will enjoy to the full. And lastly, there's no more death and sorrow, says Revelation 21:4. Now, these are blessings which no human governments can ever afford to give to the human race. Mankind's been dreaming about all this since the outcast of Adam and Eve. But the truth is, it will never be impossible for God's kingdom to provide mankind with these blessings to eternity. God's kingdom will make all of these come true. Now, the current world conditions show that we really need to act now before it's too late. And you yourself can benefit if you do so. The prophet Micah describes how Jehovah is bringing about true peace and security. Let us read Micah chapter 4, verses 3 and 4. It says, He will render judgment among many peoples and set matters straight, respecting mighty nations far away. They will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning shears. Nations will not lift up sword against nation, nor will they learn war anymore. They will sit each one under his vine and under his fig tree, and no one will make them afraid. For the mouth of Jehovah of armies has spoken. And keep in mind, this will surely come true. Now, remember that this promise did not come from politicians with bad reputations, but a promise from whom Joshua proved to be a loving and loyal God, Jehovah. And we know so well that the fulfillment of this prophecy is now transpiring day after day before our eyes. And right here in Jehovah's organization, right now exists real peace and security. It is not yet perfect, but it's slowly getting there so far. And in the entirety of Jehovah's organization worldwide happens real peace and security. Today, Jehovah's servants already conform to his requirements by not learning war anymore and dwelling in peace with one another. And you too can enjoy peace and security even in this very turbulent world. Your very first step is to acquire knowledge of Jehovah and develop a very close relationship with him according to John 17:3. And studying the Bible with the Jehovah's Witnesses will help you to do so. And by obeying God's laws, you will enjoy peace with Jehovah God and fellow humans even while living in the world under constant chaos and pain. Soon, real and lasting world peace and security will arrive, and you will be one of the millions who will benefit. And now is the time to put your full trust in Jehovah's promises.